even from 80,000. You guys are lowering it to 80,000. I recommend getting it lower, 55,000. And you're selling 20,000. You're delivering 20,000. Let's try to boost that number to about 30, 40,000. And there'll be 15,000 dispensable. 15,000 instead of this major 60,000 that's in dispense from those numbers that you're saying. That's good business. Um yeah. And make it a high demand vehicle. Actually lowering it even more would make it a high demand vehicle because they'll be hard to come by. You know? Um right now you have an excess. So let's save money, clean up that excess, bring that number down from 80 to about 55 just to have that wiggle room, right? Because you're only selling 20, man. 20, that leaves 30, 35,000 vehicles that you're potentially not selling. But here's the kicker. We're not telling the public that we're making 55. We're going to tell the public we're making 25. Making the demand grow. So the product will turn into a premier product that creates a buzz. It creates a buzz for the product because even cutting the product that much to society creates a buzz around the product. All news is good news. All news, what is the saying? It's close to all news is good news. I can't get the saying, bro. I can't get the saying. I don't remember what the saying is. But it boils down to all news is good news. That's not the saying. I can't remember the saying, yo. I can't remember the saying. Holy shit, I can't remember the saying. Publicity. It's publicity. All publicity is good publicity. Even bad publicity is good publicity. Even bad publicity is publicity. So center some more attention around your product. Make it seem hard to get. Make it seem hard to get, which creates field around your product as Mind you, you're already selling 20,000. So this publicity now that you're going to create around your product will drive new consumers to take a look at the product, because now everybody's not going to have one. Everybody don't have access to it. It becomes a premier. My battery is low. Let me charge this. It becomes a premier product now. You know what I mean? Like, your product is now exclusive. It becomes an exclusive product. Your product. Let me stop chatting. Let them get through this video. My fault. But Ford, before I go, Ford, Explorer division. Bro, I don't know. I love Fords. You know what? I'm gonna chat for a second. I remember when I was young, right? And we used to have the conversation of what your favorite car is. The boys have that conversation. What's your favorite car? When you get older, what's gonna be your car, right? And everybody was picking Corvette, Lamborghini, this, that, the third, Mercedes. Bro, you know what I picked? I swear to you, my car was a Ford Explorer. What was the name of this goddamn Ford Explorer? Something edition. It was a designer. Something Davidson edition. Not Tommy Davidson, bro. Oh my God, bro. My friggin' dream car was a Ford Explorer. Hewer? Was it something Hewer edition? I can't remember the name of it, bro. I can't remember the name of it, but that was my car. I seen that car parked in my street, and I fell in love with Ford Explorer, yo. I really fell in love. Where's your thing? Go get your thing. Go get your beret. Go get your beret, man. Your beret. You shaked it out your head. Go get your beret, man. Eddie Bauer. My car was Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer edition, bro. That was my car. That was my car. That's the car that I was like, yeah, that's what I want. Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer edition. Out of all the cars in the world, Ford, my car was the Eddie Bauer, Ford Explorer Eddie Bauer edition. It just spoke to me. It whispered my name. Yo, Lace. Yo, Lace. It's me and you, dogs. Yo, Ford, we got some chatting to do. Let these brothers cook, man, because Ford.
And so they are still planning to grow their overall production and deliveries from where they're at, just not as much. So, if 3,200 is double the 1,600, so probably their plans were for roughly 150, 160,000 vehicles a year sold next year. And instead, now they're cutting that down to 80,000. which is a significant reduction. And yeah, total F-150 sales are somewhere, south of, I think, 500,000. The whole F1 or F lineup, F-150, F-250, F-350, they do, I think, almost a million, roughly somewhere in between 700,000 and a million vehicles per year. But the F-150 itself, is probably somewhere in the 300,000 to 500,000 range. And so if they were able to, deliver 150,000 Lightnings next year, that would have accounted anywhere from half to, a third potentially of their overall F-150 Lightning or F-150 lineup. And that would have been really an excellent development for Ford and for just the EV adoption in general. But it seems like whether they're doing this based on they're going to hold pricing for whatever reason, they decided they either can't sell those vehicles, or they actually don't want to sacrifice the profits that they make, because those F-150s are highly profitable vehicles if they sell them in the ICE configuration. And so basically killing your golden goose that keeps your company in business in order to transition to an electric version of that you lose anywhere from, I think, right now it's $30,000 a vehicle. That's big. Hopefully that loss would shrink dramatically in order for them to deliver that many vehicles. But I mean, shoot, even if it's just flat and before you were making lots of money on those vehicles, that's a huge hit to the pocketbook. And obviously there's shareholders that they have to keep happy. And when I said that, this is classic innovator's dilemma, that's the problem that large incumbents face, is that they have existing products that have good margin structures. And in order to transition to a new technology, you have to sacrifice a high margin product for a low margin product that's also in low volumes. And so it just doesn't move the needle on your overall business. You can't really make a good business case for why you should do that at this stage. But the problem is this is an adoption S curve, and that 10 years from now, at the very least, potentially sooner, that everything's going to go electric. And so it's something that they know they need to do eventually, but they can't justify doing it right now because they just lose too much money.
Yeah, it is sad though, right? Because the Ford F-150 Lightning seem to be doing very well. And so, we don't want to lose these electric vehicles being made. And so everybody's slowed down their production. Here's Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, just announcing literally a week ago that in October, Ford had a record month for F-150 Lightning sales. We just broke another record with November being our best ever sales month for Lightning, with nearly 4,400 EV trucks, 100% increase from last year. So, he just announced this last week, and then now they announced that they're going to cut it for January. So they sold 4,393 F-150 Lightnings in November, their best month ever, double the sales in November 2022. And they expect us to believe they're cutting production because of a slowdown in demand.
Well, you do have to take into account, I think that 3,200 vehicles was, wasn't that per week?
Yes.
So 3,200 a week
production. Yeah.
Production is way out in front of 4,400 sold in a month.
Gotcha.
And so, if you can basically supply your entire month with a week and a half to 2 weeks worth of production, then it kind of makes sense. If they are seeing that this is it keeps growing. So I don't know. They've got a full, with Ford, they have dealers, and so they have channels that they have to fill up. There's a lot of dealer lots that these trucks are sitting on. And so they have kind of a delayed response in matching their production with sales, because they have this buffer of all this dealer inventory that they have to fill up.
Understood.
So hopefully we'll see F-150 sales continue to climb. But yeah, if they want to make 3,200 of these a week, then that's almost 12,000 a month in sales that they have to do, or more than that, depending on how much downtime they have. So yeah, still still a ways. That's only a third of where they really need to be in order to produce and sell the exact same number of vehicles in a month.
That's a good point. The difference between a week and a month. Thanks for pointing that out to me. Um, Here's a question for you. So, they sold 20,365 Lightnings from January to November of this year. And like you were saying, let's say call it 25,000, something that below that. But Tesla just launched a Cybertruck and they have an installed capacity of 125,000 Cybertrucks a year. And it's funny that people are saying that, Cybertrucks are going to be such small volumes. It's just going to be a niche product. But they're already going to become, by next year, the biggest sales for electric vehicle trucks. So do you think that Ford part of the equation was Cybertruck coming out?
I mean, it certainly has to weigh in their mind. They can't really measure at this point what the impact of that's going to be. I'm thinking that if Omar is saying that we have 125,000 worth of Cybertruck annual production installed right now, so that's probably a single line. And so they're probably in the process of commissioning a second line for the Cybertruck as they ramp up. And so it'll probably be 2 vehicle lines, I would expect, will constitute the 250,000 a year annual production. And we have such a large backlog for this vehicle that we could even grow beyond that. They may end up having to add a third line at some point in the future. And that's, I think the market can probably absorb 125 to 250,000 Cybertrucks a year without that having any meaningful demand for Ford, especially since there's so many buyers that are just, lined up for a Cybertruck for a long time. But once you start exceeding that, I would think that would really bite into F-150 Lightning share in the total marketplace. Especially, if you look at the COGS that we would expect on a Cybertruck that's delivering that many vehicles a year versus the COGS that Ford would see producing, 150,000 Lightnings. I think they're going to be at lower volume, higher overall cost structure. Obviously, they aren't as good at vertical integration. Their cost is already going to be higher beforehand. So if you layer in lower economies of scale and a less efficient production manufacturing line, that gets really tough to compete.
Well, this is the thing, right? We want electric vehicles to proliferate and succeed. Meantime, these legacy automakers are trying to, they dabbled into it. But by the time they roll this out, Tesla has a competitor. Now you got their Cybertruck, which is going to have amazing margins on it, better features, technology. You know what I mean? Like they need to have the F-150 Lightning at scale in order to even stop losing money. How do you get there when you've got this company that is just blowing you out of the water? So in a way that it's good news for Tesla, but bad news for the industry, bad news for electric vehicles in general. I just don't know how many of these other car companies, how they're going to succeed. When Tesla came out with their Model S, they went with a high premium offering at the time. Really bad timing, but they had, no one else was offering a high premium electric vehicle. And then now you got the Lucids of the world trying to come up with a high premium offering, but you've got the Model S there. So it's like you're in a totally different environment than you are now. And this seems like what's happening again with the trucks in this example, or even other cars. So by the time they catch up, the only thing
that I could see that would help Ford in this scenario is if the demand for Cybertruck actually stays so high that Tesla cannot bring the price down for a while. Like, if the ramp for Cybertruck is slow, that will mean that, in the supply and demand curve, that the pricing for Cybertruck will stay higher for longer than we want for overall adoption. But that would give Ford a little bit more time in order to continue to reach their economies of scale and grow their production. So that's kind of what they need to be hoping for, but they also need to be moving as quickly as possible to get their supply chain in line, to get all their manufacturing costs down as low as possible. And like we said, all of that happens through economies of scale. And so it's just, it's a tough spot.
Yeah. And Jeff Lutz keeps pointing out that when you decide to, pull back the gas pedal in this case, And in October, they idled 3 shifts at the Lightning plant. It was supposed to be temporary, affecting 700 workers. And then they're talking to suppliers, telling them to reduce their expectations. You can't just turn them on and off in a dime. Many of the suppliers are going to be affected. You may not be able to get back what they already had when you do these kind of things. And so we'll see if this is a death blow or if it can actually be managed as we move forward. All right. Thank you so much, Hans. Appreciate that. Follow Hans on his YouTube channel, Hans C. Nelson. Thanks, everybody. I've created a website that is the most comprehensive resource for the Tesla investor.
That's actually wow that Tesla, the release of the Tesla truck, which is highly anticipated. Highly anticipated. And we did a video about the Tesla truck and its expectations and the different details about the Tesla truck, the mileage, the capacity, the towing capacity, the load capacity, and it's vastly superior. It's vastly superior to what I've been hearing about other trucks in the EV spectrum. 3 engines in the Tesla truck with 500 mile range demolishes other trucks. Another point that would make it exceptional is that it can be used as a generator. The truck can be used as a generator. It can power your home. It can power a facility. It can power equipment. Go out camping, your truck is the power source. So Ford has its work cut out for it. Ford has its work cut out for it, man. It's just not a easy time for these companies. And Tesla is multifaceted. Tesla is multifaceted. It's the Tesla bot, for example, just an example. These things or products complement the growth of the Tesla brand. Everybody wants a Tesla truck. Everybody's going to want a Tesla bot. Everybody wants to be part of the is that Tesla as well that makes the batteries, that makes the solar panels, I think that's Tesla as well. I think that's just another division of Tesla that makes the solar panels, the solar panel battery packs for your home. So much like other brands, Tesla is branding itself to take over an entire portion, home, auto, robot part of your life. They're fixating and positioning themselves to capture a huge part of everyone's life. Much like Nike has done to the shoe market. Nike with shoes, with clothes, you know, things they've positioned themselves to corner that market. And Tesla is doing the same thing at a bigger scale. At a much bigger scale. They want you to drive the car. They want you to have the robot. And they want you to have the integrated off-grid system. All three of these individual businesses, which is part of the same business, is huge. The robot sector, the home sector, where we're talking about the battery pack and the I just said the name. Solar panels, the solar panel with battery pack and whatever else they're innovating. That itself is huge. The robot itself is huge. And the car itself is huge. It's all under Tesla. They're really looking to corner the market on several different industries. They're cornering the market under several. Elon is Eloning. Elon Musk is musking. I don't know how you want to say it. You can say it better than I can. He doing the motherfucking thing. He on a rampage. He's on a rampage. And this is part of the dilemma of what these companies are facing. These companies, and then you have to think about, where do the professionals want to work? Do you want to work for Ford? Or do you want to work for Tesla, which has sky's the limit as a engineer. If you, for example, if you work with Tesla and is an extraordinary, and you are recognized as an extraordinary engineer, there's tremendous upside, because not only can you be recognized by Tesla, you're also being recognized by Starlink. You're being recognized by SpaceX. You're being you see where I'm going with this? What he is doing, is catastrophic for everybody else, for all his competitors. Nobody's going to want to work for Ford. If you're extraordinary at Ford, You're just extraordinary to Ford. It's it's a tremendous ongoing saga that these companies got to deal with, because Elon, Elon, I don't know how to explain what he did. I don't know how to explain what he did with the plethora of companies that he released upon the earth. But he is leading the industry in every single category that he chose to take upon. He chose to take on several different categories at the same time, and is absolutely leading in every single category. I can't think of any category that he's not leading in. I might be able to say the robots. He might not be leading in the robot category, because the robots that we're seeing now that are traversing New York, like I said, that are traversing New York alone, seem more advanced than the Tesla bots that we are able to see. So with that respect, there is, and unless those are, we don't know the detail. We don't even know who's creating these bots that are traversing New York. We don't even know whose bots those are that are traversing New York, subways and football games, and we don't even know whose technology that is. We don't. But we got to be honest, those products look more advanced than the Tesla products, the Tesla bots. So, but we don't know what's to come. So we have to, again, we got to keep an eye on things that are happening in our realm, because things are moving fast. The bots are here. Bots are on the subway. Bots are on in games. The bots are in going to football games. They're sitting in seats next to you. They're riding on a train with you already. Now, this is happening now. Bots on the trains. We've seen that. They're here. And they're here to, well, we can't be sure. But we got to keep an eye out. We definitely got to keep an eye on these ongoing, because this is huge. This is absolutely huge.